Call of Duty had the best run that any video game franchise has had probably ever. Starting in 2007 with Modern Warfare, we got the best 6 games a company has ever released that paved the way for all of gaming to be as massive as it is today. This is where many people fell in love with gaming. The success of Call of Duty gave us most of, if not all of the games that we have today. Gaming was not very popular back in 07, so the success that Activision had with Call of Duty made a lot of companies step into the video game realm and start their own game development. Stop writing your comment and telling me that that's a false statement. I'm not saying it's the only reason some companies stepped into the video game realm. I'm just saying it probably helped. Stop being an idiot in the comment section. Anyways, we got Modern Warfare in 2007, World at War in 08, Modern Warfare 2 in 09, Black Ops 1 in 2010, Modern Warfare 3 in 2011, and Black Ops 2 in 2012. Tell me that is not the greatest run in video game history. All of those titles are Call of Duty classics, especially Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops 1 and 2. Those are pretty much world-renowned games. That was the peak of multiplayer gaming. Those games are where it all started for most of us. I remember coming home from school to play Modern Warfare 2 and getting curb stomped. It matured me. It was needed to make me the man that I am today. I loved every second of it. The world was a better place when Modern Warfare 2 was the newest Call of Duty, or Black Ops 1, or any of those 6 releases. That 6-year run is what made Call of Duty into what it is today. It bought their entire fan base for life. They now can release the most abysmal, terrible title you could ever fathom, and people would still buy it because of how good those games were back in the day. So, after 6 world-class releases all in a row, how did the Call of Duty franchise fall so far? What happened to make it one of the most hated-on game franchises when it once was the most loved? Well, the short answer is money and corporate greed. If that's all you're looking for, then there you have your answer. Click off the video and don't leave a comment about how I took 10 minutes to get to the point when you were the one who clicked on a 10-minute video, idiot. Anyways, let's dive into what happened to Call of Duty. I mean, honestly, how did we get this? What the hell is even this? They really said, man, we can't make anything new, so let's try this shit again. But it actually did work, to be fair. And I don't even want to talk about this. Back in the day, during the historic run, each new Call of Duty brought a breath of fresh air. They were all the epitome of what we love so much in a Call of Duty game. Fast-paced gameplay, fun guns to use and level up, great maps that flow well and don't suck ass to play on. They really put thought into each game and actually tried. But of course, that's when they took 3 years to develop each game. You see, Activision and all of the developers did things right. They were able to release a new Call of Duty every single year because they had 3 separate companies working on each title: Treyarch, Sledgehammer, and Infinity Ward. So every 3 years, one of these companies would release a title, giving each company 3 years to work on their game. So even though we got a new Call of Duty title every year, it actually had been worked on for 3 straight years. It was a genius system that worked incredibly well, but somehow, somewhere, someone said, man, let's fix some shit that isn't actually broken in the name of money. And they started releasing games that only took a few months of real development, and it showed. But let's start at the beginning. The beginning of the end. Call of Duty Ghosts. Now, I really liked Ghosts. I hated Extinction, but I loved the multiplayer and campaign. Of course, everyone and their dog bought Ghosts when it came out because it was the next Call of Duty release after the historic run, right after Black Ops 2. Everyone wanted to see what they had next for us, and they didn't love it. For the most part, most of the community does not like Call of Duty Ghosts, especially back when it was released. Looking back on it, if that game came out now, it would probably revive the franchise. It really was a great game, but it followed such classics, and it was by no means a classic itself, so it felt much worse than it actually was. I think if you ask anyone now why they didn't like Ghosts, they probably couldn't tell you. It just felt off. It didn't have the same spark as Modern Warfare and Black Ops. But compared to the releases we're getting now, Ghosts is the best Call of Duty we've ever gotten. It was the beginning of the end because of what followed. The next year after our first Call of Duty disappointment, we got one of the most down bad entries into the franchise. We got Advanced Warfare. The first time they tried out jetpacks. Now, I really liked Advanced Warfare personally, but it's safe to say that most everyone pukes just thinking about it. The jetpack aspect was complete dog water. Most of the community did not like how far we'd progressed into the future. The maps weren't great and neither were the guns. The zombies mode was absolutely atrocious as well, but the worst part of it all was microtransactions. This was the first time that Call of Duty had pushed supply drops on us. Special variants of weapons that gave you a stupid advantage in the game, but to get them you had to pay even more money on top of the $60 you paid for the game itself. This was where the corporation started to realize just how much of a grip they had on the community. People were buying these drops left and right trying to get good variants and skins and whatnot. It was madness. Fast forward to the next year, Black Ops 3 comes out. After 2 subpar releases, Black Ops 3 was a breath of fresh air. It had one of, if not the best zombies mode, and some bomb-ass multiplayer and guns. Although we were still headed further into the future and we still had jetpacks after how very vocal we were with our hatred towards them, the Black Ops series had once again not let us down. But the happiness came with a grain of salt. They pushed the supply drops again, but even harder this time. For most, it wasn't a huge issue, but it was still a slap in the face from the company who so obviously wanted to squeeze every penny out of us that they could. Nonetheless, Black Ops 3 was amazing. But it was very short-lived. For the next year, we got the worst Call of Duty of them all. At its time, there were far worse to come. We're just not there yet. Infinite Warfare. Now, I actually love this game, but when it released, everyone was livid about it. The teaser trailer for it was the most disliked video on YouTube at one point. Everyone was so livid that we were still getting jetpacks and we were progressing so far into the future that most of the game took place on other planets. Again, I really enjoyed the game. Zombies in Spaceland is also my favorite zombies mode, tied with the Black Ops zombies. It's a classic, but that's besides the point. Everyone was so upset that the company was still not listening to us, and they had pushed weapon variants and supply drops on us harder than ever before, for the 3rd year in a row. For many, this was where they stopped playing Call of Duty. This was the end of what was once an amazing franchise. I vividly remember the release of this game. It was right when I started this channel, and I remember how disappointed fans were. Fortunately, the next year, the company had listened. No more jetpacks. Let's go back to boots on the ground. They gave us Call of Duty World War II. Okay, they went really far back. Like, Infinite Warfare took place in the year 2187, and the devs were like, you don't like the future? Well, let's show you, and they went back to 1938. Like, damn. Call of Duty World War II was okay. It wasn't amazing, and it wasn't awful. People were still not super happy with the franchise, but at least this one didn't push supply drops as hard. They still had them, but I felt like they didn't push them quite as much personally. But the game wasn't really enough. The guns were fine, but old. What made Call of Duty so great back in the day was the cool weapons, and I don't know about you, but I don't find old World War II weapons very fun to use in a high-paced action first-person shooter. You might, so don't rip me up in the comments, but I personally don't like using World War II equipment in a Call of Duty game. Moving on, the next year we got Black Ops 4, and the franchise's first Battle Royale. That's right when Fortnite gained an insane amount of attraction. This was also the first Call of Duty that wasn't featuring a campaign though, and many people were not happy about that. But hey, another Black Ops game. You guys love Black Ops, don't you? Well, not this garbage. Black Ops 4 was not even close to as good as Black Ops 1 through 3. The zombies mode was awful, and so was the multiplayer. I don't know about you, but I hated the multiplayer, and because of that, I hardly played it. But Blackout, that was the main attraction. Call of Duty's first step into the Battle Royale realm was going to be legendary. It wasn't. Blackout was fine, but it just wasn't that great. There were a lot of things about the game that just weren't good in a Battle Royale. I didn't love having to find every attachment separately for the gun. It works in Apex, but Call of Duty is so fast-paced that you can't really afford to be scrambling to find weapon attachments, especially before there were loadout drops. The map was also way too clustered and cluttered. It just wasn't good. Not to mention, Fortnite was at its absolute peak at the time, and many just focused on that, not the below average new Call of Duty release. The next year is when the company said, well, we sure can't make anything new, so let's just re-release an old gem, and they gave us Modern Warfare 2019. Kind of a weak-ass attempt to revive the franchise, but it was good nonetheless. The maps on multiplayer are what killed the game though. Whoever designed those maps needs to be shot dead. I still have yet to find someone that actually liked a single map on that game. But this Call of Duty introduced Gunfight, one of the biggest breaths of fresh air in my opinion. I played Gunfight 10 times more than any other multiplayer mode. The maps on Gunfight were perfectly designed. Honestly, since Black Ops 3, this is the best release that we've gotten. It was solid, even with the very lackluster multiplayer maps. But the real achievement was Warzone. Activision said fuck you to Blackout and give us a new Battle Royale, and thankfully so. They scrapped the old system and just gave you guns on the ground that already had attachments. They also introduced loadouts, which were unique to any Battle Royale. Wow, revolutionary. When Warzone was new, it was a lot like when Fortnite was new, in my opinion. It was a lot of fun and everybody loved it. But it quickly died off a bit. Somehow, the game company that has been releasing the same damn game for 20 years still does not know how to balance weapons. Different metas started to ruin the game. For months at a time, one weapon would be so overpowered that it wasn't even worth trying to use a different weapon. Do you all remember the FFAR and AUG meta that lasted 79 years? Yeah, me too. Gag me. Every game felt the exact same, and they made so little changes to the map that it didn't feel special anymore. In fact, they made a huge deal about changing the map one time, and everyone was so hyped. But when it changed, it was so similar to the old one that people were pissed. The year is 2020. This is where the franchise hits rock bottom. If you weren't already hopped off the COD hype train, you were now with the release of Cold War followed by fucking Vanguard, whatever the fuck that game is, if you can even call it a game. Cold War was not good. I don't care what anyone says, that game is not good. There is one zombies map that isn't the actual worst, and that's about the only good thing I can say about that game. They really just slapped Black Ops in front of the Cold War name trying to get us to buy it. But none of us bought it because we actually wanted to. We were forced to. The company, of course, wanted all of our money. They saw the success of Warzone and decided to use it against us. They merged all of the Cold War weapons into Warzone and made them incredibly powerful. That way you would buy Cold War, play it to level up those guns, and then come back to Warzone and make a class with the overpowered Cold War weapons that you just leveled up. And it worked. We all fell for it and we just handed our damn money over to Activision. We bought a $60 Warzone DLC to make the free Warzone game actually playable. They put very little effort into Cold War and it was obvious. None of the maps or guns were very good or unique. It really did seem like they just wanted to give us something basic to play so that we could spend $60 on our Warzone DLC. Now we are on to Vanguard. Oh my gosh. I've never hated a game more in my life. I have never been more disappointed in a game, ever. This is by far the worst Call of Duty that has been released, and it's not close. Vanguard was the next release by Sledgehammer, who made World War II just 3 years prior. They literally made the same game. So much of Vanguard was just ripped from World War II. It was so obvious that they didn't even try to hide it. They had the same guns that were in World War II. The STG doesn't even look or perform any different in the two games. The maps feel the exact same. The movement is the exact same as World War II. We didn't even get a new zombies map. They just took one of the fucking multiplayer maps and reskinned it. I was so appalled at what Call of Duty had become that after 2 hours I just turned it off. But of course, they still had us hooked with Warzone. And they did the same thing. Vanguard weapons were the meta in Warzone now, so if you wanted to have a decent time playing it, you would have to get Vanguard to level up those weapons. They just chose to have yet another Call of Duty set in World War II so that they could spend less money on development by just literally copy and pasting from Call of Duty World War II. Around the same time that they merged Vanguard into Warzone is when they've released an entirely new map replacing Verdansk. They released Caldera. This is probably the biggest pile of shit ever, considering that most of the map is covered in rocks, and for whatever reason they have made it impossible to climb rocks in Warzone. A terrible new release and a terrible new Warzone map. The company screwed themselves. They spent so much time and money marketing that they forgot how to actually provide us with something decent to buy, and it finally caught up with them. They have reportedly lost over 50 million active players in the last year, and most big streamers do not play Warzone regularly anymore. The company's mistakes and greed have finally caught up to them, and rightfully so. That is the downfall of Call of Duty. Once the greatest franchise in gaming turned into a laughingstock. Will Modern Warfare 2 bring back the franchise? Will it be enough to re-engage players? They are making a new Warzone map that looks interesting, but if you've watched my last 2 videos, you'll know that I have lost 100% all hope in game companies. The industry has become such a money grab that I can no longer trust anything I see until the game is actually out. So, will Call of Duty make a comeback, or will it fall below rock bottom? I think we all know the answer to that question.